Do you ever think it's possible for someone to be cursed by the gods not to get married nor die, and to bring ruin to any man who comes her way? Not the kind of curse you whisper over a flickering candle. Not the kind you pay a village witch to remove with ash and a prayer. No, the kind the gods write into your bones. Let me tell you about a woman named Gift. And before we go further, if you love stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. You are watching Folktales by Favor, where the old tales never die. Gift was born in a time before your grandfather's grandfather drew his first breath. Her mother was a priestess of the moon, a woman who could speak to the tides and calm a fever with a touch. Her father was a warrior who once wrestled a leopard and walked away with only a scratch on his chest. They had tried for years to have a child. When Gift finally arrived, with eyes the color of forest honey and a laugh that made market women stop mid-haggle to smile, the whole village celebrated for 7 days. When she turned 18, the suitors came like rain after a dry season, first a trickle, then a flood. They brought yams and palm wine, carved stools and golden beads. Gift danced at the festival of the new moon, and her feet barely seemed to touch the earth. The elders nodded. This one, they said, will marry a king. But the gods were listening. There was a slight. A forgotten shrine. A festival where Gift's mother, grieving a stillborn son, had refused to pour the customary libation to the god of thunder. Her tears fell where the offering should have poured. A small thing, but the gods remember. One night, the god of thunder came to Gift in a dream. Not as a man with lightning in his beard. He came as a gentle rain, soft and endless. And his words were soft too. That's what made them terrifying. Gift, daughter of a forgetful house. I have woven a thread into your fate. No man shall claim you as wife. No man shall lie beside you and wake to the same sun. Any man who approaches you with love will lose everything he has worked for. His farm will turn to dust. His children will forget his name. His wealth will scatter like birds. And you, Gift, you will not die. Not by sickness, not by blade, not by age. You will walk this earth until the rivers run backwards and the hills learn to sing. She woke up screaming. When morning came, the truth of the curse announced itself. His name was Chitty. A farmer with shoulders wide as a canoe paddle and hands that made the earth blush with gratitude. He had watched Gift dance, and something in his chest cracked open like a dry seed in rain. He came to her father's hut with a ripe mango and said, I am not afraid of any curse. Gift begged him to leave. She told him about the dream. But Chitty only smiled. The gods test brave men, he said. I will return with a wedding gift. 3 days later, a strange blight ate every single one of his yams. The river near his farm dried up overnight. His brothers packed their things and left without a word. Chitty sat in his barren field and wept until his voice cracked. Gift found him there. She knelt beside him and touched his hand for the first and last time. Run, she whispered. Run far from me. He did. Surely she tried everything. And you would be right. Gift visited every herbalist between the Niger River and the Great Forest. She sat in the huts of diviners who threw cowrie shells until their fingers bled. She fasted for 40 days on a hilltop where the ancestors whispered secrets. One diviner told her to bathe in the blood of a white rooster at midnight under a dying moon. She did it. Another told her to bury 7 kola nuts at the crossroads where 3 villages meet. She did it. Another told her to walk naked through the marketplace at noon carrying a calabash of honey on her head. She did that too, and the next day, the chief's prize goat gave birth to a 2-headed kid. The town laughed, but Gift did not. Finally, she climbed the sacred mountain where the god of thunder was said to rest between storms. She crawled on her knees up the rocky path until her skin was raw, and at the summit, she cried out to the sky. Take my beauty. Take my voice. Take my very name. But give me back my life. Thunder rolled. A single bolt of lightning struck a tree 3 hills away. And then, silence. The god did not answer. Years passed. Then decades. Then centuries. Gift watched empires rise and fall. She learned the languages of strangers who crossed the great river on iron boats. She watched her hometown grow into a city, then a ghost town, then a city again. She buried friends she had known for 50 years. She buried their grandchildren. She stopped counting funerals after the 100th. And still, she could not die. She tried, believe me. She threw herself from the tallest cliff. She walked into the ocean and let the waves drag her under for 3 days. She drank the poison of a snake so venomous that even the old ones whispered its name. Each time, she woke up. Each time, she crawled back to shore, back to her own stubborn lungs filling with air. The curse was not cruel like a tyrant. It was cruel like the sun, inevitable, indifferent, impossible to bargain with. So she stopped bargaining. She walked deep into the old forest, sat down by a stream, and decided to wait. For what, she did not know. There was a man. Of course there was a man. There is always a man. His name was Ikenna, and he was not a farmer or a warrior or a prince. He was a storyteller. Thin as a shepherd's staff, with eyes that had seen more than his 40 years should allow. He wandered from village to village with nothing but a drum and a gourd of water. He did not seek wealth or power or a wife. He sought stories. One evening, he heard a rumor in a market that made him stop mid-bite of roasted plantain. They say there's a woman in the old forest, the fish seller said, lowering her voice. They say she's been there longer than any living person remembers. She's cursed. And they say, she knows every story that has ever been told. Ikenna put down his plantain. He paid the fish seller 3 times what she asked. And he walked into the forest. He found her sitting by the stream, her feet in the water, her gray hair woven into a crown of wildflowers. She looked old and young at the same time, like a statue rained on for so long it had grown soft around the edges. Go away, Gift said without looking up. I have ruined enough men. I don't fear ruin, Ikenna said. I have nothing to lose. She laughed, a sound like dry leaves skittering across stone. Every man says that. But you have breath. You have memory. You have the small things, your mother's name, the smell of rain on your grandmother's cooking pot, the sound of a child laughing. The curse will take all of it. Then let it, Ikenna said. And he sat down across from her. He did not touch her. He did not profess love. He did not ask her to marry him. He simply sat, pulled out his drum, and began to play. He played the song of the first rain. The song of the tortoise who tricked the elephant. The song of the 2 sisters who became the sun and the moon. Gift listened. And for the first time in 500 years, she felt something other than hunger or exhaustion or the dull ache of immortality. She wept. Ikenna stopped playing. Tell me, he said, the story that no one else knows. So she did. She told him about the god of thunder and the forgotten libation. Her mother's stillborn son. Her father's leopard scratch. The 100 suitors, the barren farms, the dried rivers. The cliff and the ocean and the snake. She told him everything. And then she waited for the curse to take him. But Ikenna did not lose his farm, he had none. He did not lose his children, he had none. He did not lose his wealth, he carried only a drum and a gourd. The curse strained and twisted, looking for something to destroy, but Ikenna had offered nothing. He had not approached her as a suitor. He had approached her as a witness. That was the loophole. The crack in the thunder god's perfect design. The curse was written to punish love and ambition. But it said nothing about storytelling. Nothing about sitting beside a cursed woman and simply listening. Ikenna stayed with her for 7 days. He listened to every story she had collected over the centuries, the wars, the famines, the betrayals, the miracles. He wrote nothing down. He needed no ink. He was the ink. On the 7th night, as the moon rose fat and golden over the forest, Ikenna looked at Gift and smiled. "I cannot break your curse," he said. "I am no god. But I can promise you this, as long as I live, I will tell your story. And when I die, I will teach it to someone else. And they will teach it to someone else. And so on, until the rivers run backwards and the hills learn to sing. You will not be forgotten, Gift. That is my gift to you." Gift reached out and touched his hand. The curse flared, a hot wire in her chest, but nothing happened. Because this was not an approach of love. It was an approach of grace. If you want more stories like this, tales of curses and loopholes, of love that finds a way, of the old magic that still breathes under our feet, then do not leave without subscribing. Hit that button. Join the family at FolktalesbyFavour. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it.